If you have something called a LIRA, you should really watch this video, and if you don't, you should probably still watch it because it's absolutely hilarious and it's quite informative. So basically, if you have a LIRA, that means at some point in your life you worked for a company that offered a pension plan and you either quit that job or got fired from that job and were given a choice to either take the commuted value of your pension or leave that money inside the pension plan, which I'll talk about that at a different date. But if you decided to take that money out of your pension plan, then the majority of the money in there was going to have to go into something called a LIRA, or a locked-in retirement account, which is basically just like an RSP, except that you cannot access your money with the exception of a few things I'll discuss in a bit, and you cannot add to this account. And the reason why they do this is because the government wants to ensure that you treat that money so that at the end of the day it will give you a lifelong retirement income, which is the exact purpose of a pension, because they know that if you were allowed to do whatever you wanted with that money, one day you'd see that you had this giant amount of money that you didn't know you have. You'd automatically pay the tax to take that money out and spend it on something super stupid, like maybe your Clash of Clans base, or like a degree from the University of Phoenix or something, or you might spend like $100,000 on a wake surfing boat, when instead you could take that $100,000 and go on like a 3-week actual surfing trip for like 30 years. That's beside the point. So, like I said before, there are some reasons why you can access this money, and at some point in time in your life you're actually going to have to access it, and that's going to happen in one of two ways. It's either going to have to be converted to a LIF, which is a lifetime income fund, where each year they're going to calculate the minimum or maximum amount you have to take out of that account every year, or you can buy a life annuity with the proceeds, which will then pay you a lifetime income for your life. Both of these incomes are completely taxable. Now, there are some reasons why you can access this money, but this is different in every province because every province has different pension legislations, and so does the federal government. But for example, in Alberta, when you turn 50 years old, you can unlock 50% of your LIRA and either transfer that into your RSP to give you more flexibility or cash out that 50%, but the other 50% has to be turned into a LIF at that time. There are 4 other reasons why you can potentially access this money. That is, if you have a reduced life expectancy, if you're no longer a resident of Canada, if your account falls under a specific size. So if you have a small account, sometimes they'll let you access that money, or if you have financial hardship. Now, if you have questions about those individually, feel free to ask me, but that's as far as I'm going to get into them today. Lastly, I'm just going to go into an example of your LIRA. So what happens? You're 35 years old, you quit a job, you see that you have this account that you have $50,000 in. So what do? You're like, wow, I didn't know. Now I need to invest it. So you go to your local bank where you're banking and you sit down with somebody and he goes over some questions with you, finds out your risk tolerance, and invests that $50,000, and you just don't really think about it and you can't really touch it, which is probably a good thing because it's sort of out of sight, out of mind with investing. It's going to be in there for the long term. But at this bank, probably based on average mutual fund fees, you're probably paying approximately 2.2% a year on this account. That means the bank is taking $1,100 worth of fees every single year from your account. So let's just look at the difference. If you could reduce your fees to 1.15% by coming to talk to me about this account, if you had two identical performances in the portfolios, but you just reduced that fee, so you now have invested it till 65 years old, and you have an extra $18,400 in your account because you reduced your fees. That means if you live till 90, you're going to have an extra $840 every single year that you can draw from that account. I know that doesn't sound like a crazy amount of money, but in order for you to do this, it would probably take you about 20 minutes to contact me and talk about it, and then actually initiate the transfer. So would you work for 20 minutes to earn yourself $840 a year for 25 years in retirement? I know I would. See you next week. Thanks.